Drifters, a different edition of the On the Drift podcast this week because I'm riding solo, but it's almost like a talkback radio styling. My co-host Declan Jones he's just living his best life up at Noosa, mate. How are you going?
Going well, mate. Going well. Gave the GPOE, greatest place on earth, the Noosa Surf Club, a little whack last night for a couple of beers. Look, it's as glorious as ever. Wasn't quite the sauna that it was the other week for my bucks, but it was still glorious, mate. Loving life up here. Can't complain.
So can I ask you, do the beers taste better as a married man or do they taste exactly the same?
Well, I'll tell you what, it definitely wasn't a while between drinks. had a lot on Sunday and then obviously none on Monday and then a couple of quiet ones last night. So mate, it was delicious, not going to lie. Certainly as a married man, I'd say there's just a sense of finality around the beers. You know what I mean? This is it. These are how the beers are going to taste for the rest of your life. But no, they're tasting good.
Good to hear, mate. Good to hear. So tell me, obviously we spent significant time with each other on your wedding day, but pre-game, mate, how were things before you did your vows, before the ceremony? Then you would have just shaken about, I reckon, over unders, you would have had about 5,000 handshakes for the day.
Oh, mate. Look, the lead up into the actual ceremony, to be honest, it just feels like a blur. From waking up in the morning to actually, standing at the end of the aisle waiting for my lovely wife, G, to rock up. Just honestly was such a blur. And it was when I first got to the location for the ceremony, I hadn't met the photographer or videographer or anything like that. So, they were coming over saying, "Hey, Declan, let's start getting photos going." And people shaking my hand saying, "How you feeling?" It's it was just overwhelming, mate. It was an overwhelming morning / early afternoon. And then from then onwards, mate, it was once the vows were done in the ceremony, I felt like a big sense of relief wash over me. And I tell you what, there's only one feeling comparable to relief in my eyes, and that's back in winners, which doesn't happen too often for me. So, it was just a sense of relief, but obviously euphoric at the same time. And then from there on, it was just a lot of sore cheeks from smiling, a lot of shaking hands, hugs and whatnot. It was a very fast day, but it was a good day. I had a lot of fun.
No, so did I, mate. It was a lot of fun. Obviously, was there a favourite part of the day or night that you've been, reminiscing with your now wife and going gee, that was good? And it doesn't necessarily have to be the vows. Obviously, that's very special. But was there something at the reception that was lol, that was funny? That's a good question. I think, mate, the speeches were awesome. Look, they went longer than what I thought they would, but they were all really good and well done and well said. And just the bit of banter that was sort of happening throughout the speeches, from the crowd, from the people speaking. Yeah, just felt like it was, it was quite funny and then very heartfelt. So yeah, I'd say that was definitely the highlight. But yeah, it was just a good vibe the entire day from my side at least. Yes, I agree. And we've both been at different weddings over the journey where the speeches can really kill the vibe. That didn't happen on Sunday. No one was up there for too long. Yeah, I reckon it was the Goldilocks zone right throughout. So
Mate, let's get stuck in because as you rightfully pointed out, this is your first weekend as a married man. Looking at the lay of the land for horse racing. So, and you've chosen a damn good one. Day 2 of the championships. What are your thoughts on first look at the cards?
There's a few things I like. Not going to lie. Stacked card, obviously. I'm just a little bit concerned, mate. I'm concerned because the last week was such a bloodbath. We are like, things rolling around at 30s, 40s, and 50s. I'm just really concerned that something similar is going to happen this weekend. I like a few shorties, so surely things bounce back and us punters get back on top. Surely.
I think so. We're due. The punters are due. Brad and I talked about this on the review podcast because you were off doing your thing. You were getting in the right headspace. But he didn't back a winner all day. I'm sorry to say, I don't think you did either. I luckily found one very late in the day.
No, I didn't. I didn't back a winner, and I forgot to back Amelia's Jewel. So I was just added insult to injury. I had a shocker, and the weekend before that wasn't much better. So tell you what, usually the autumn for me is pretty fruitful, but having a bloody stinking it up.
We're going to find some value this weekend. Let's go to the Australian Oaks to find the first winner, mate. So 2,400 metres. Group 1 for 3-year-old fillies. Yeah, Pavitra and probably Soul Choice heading the field here. But then after that, this race is devoid of speed. There isn't much there at all. Mate, I think Pavitra leads out here with J-Mac jumping on and soft track, no issue. I think she just leads and wins.
Yeah, she's the obvious, isn't she? You take Prowess out of that binary start and quite clearly she's, the winner. She didn't beat the rest of the field by much, but this has been her grand final, the whole prep. Quite clearly, the Freedmans have said that from the get-go, and she's an out-and-out stayer by the looksy. I think on the podcast before the binary started, you said, I finally found a good one. I think you're right. I think she is a good horse, but I think she's going to show her best at this distance and beyond. But my concern with her is, the race is devoid of speed and she'll give herself every chance. But, geez, it was a bunched finish behind Prowess last start, wasn't it?
Yeah, you could say that. I think once this filly does step out in distance, I think she will continue to show her best. So if you're going away from that form, I'm interested to hear where you're going.
Well, there's only one for me that's a little bit left of field, and that's Pennywecker out of the Kiwi Oaks. And she was gapping them by the end of that race. If you watch the replay, you should make no drifters in that race. They went turbo for the first, 1,000 metres or something like that. So the best stayer won. Will it play out this way on the weekend? I'm not 100% sure, but apparently, according to the trainer, she's bounced out of that last run and looks better than what she did before an NZ Oaks victory. So that's Jim Wallace, the trainer, who said that. I just don't think our staying fillies are much chop. I sort of want to look at the form outside of that. And Pavitra could put a lot of egg on my face and she's still in my betting strategy, but I think I want to lean towards something that's coming from left of field that, you could argue it wasn't a high quality NZ Oaks field, but I'd argue that this field isn't that great either. So I'm leaning her way. But I'd take nothing away from Pavitra, and like always, and like it's been happening in the last couple of weeks, she could pull my pants down.
No, I think it's fair. It's fair. It's a fair assessment, but I think you're wrong. $90 on Pavitra to win. A $10 Quinella, just for seeking some value because I am not doing well in the Group 1 $100 strategy, so I need something to come off. And the horse that I liked last week, who actually ran pretty well in the Adrian Knox, was Premise. Now. She was given absolutely no hope the way that race unfolded with Chad on board. Aussie Tom jumps on from barrier 6. I think she can reverse the roles on Arts, who's drawn a little bit sticky. Jumping out to the 2400, obviously unknown. Quick backup, unknown. But I've really liked what this filly's been able to show. So I'm putting her in a Quinella with Pavitra as well 10 times.
Yeah, I think... on the quick backup from a heavy to a soft, that can really be the making of some horses, or it can blitz them. So, that Adrian Knox form will be interesting to see how it holds up in the Oaks. I'm interested to see how Fireburn, Polygon, and Pierosa go who finished behind Pavitra. Fireburn had a better run than Polygon and Pierosa in that race, but if there is a bit of juice in the ground. She can imagine if she just comes out and wins and she just is like the most superior wet tracker of all time. That'd be funny as. But not for us. But yeah, I've got 70 on Pennywecker to win and 30 on Pavitra. She could pull my pants down, so I don't want to lose on the race if she wins, or if I do lose, I don't want it to be by too much.
Yep, love it, mate. Love it. All right, let's get to. So I'm just jotting these down so you don't have to tell me later.
That's all right, mate. I will. It's all good. No stress.
All right. I just don't want to. I don't want to. Annoy you on your.
Mate, I've been working.
Oh,
I've been working. Yeah, I've been working all day today and fair bit of yesterday as well. I just want to get on top of things. I don't want to be stressed. That's all.
Fair enough. All right. Now I need your help here for the Race 7 Sydney Cup 3,200 meters handicap. These are always. These are
fucking hell. We need my help here at all sorts.
I feel like every time we go like, you know what? This horse will just be winning this next race. They just go out and draw nowhere.
It's terrible, isn't it? Terrible. It was on the weekend out of all the G1s. It's probably the one where I was like, I'm most keen on this thing. Yeah, to your point, draws an absolute bloody draws car park. But I think the race is a little bit more complex than that. Obviously, they're both talking about number 11 Cleveland, I assume.
Yes.
Yeah. I was keen on him in the Tancred. I think it was in my betting strategy. I think I had a little something on him. That was a great trial for this, you'd think.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. He was savaging the line as best he could as a very slow horse. But I think there's that what race was that actually off the top of my head? I can't really remember. It was the Tancred. So I think that race they just absolutely crawled during the midsection there. Gave nothing really too much a hope that was back of midfield. And I thought Montefilia finished off really nicely, given she nearly fell over around the 600. But Appiero kind of had that perfect run. Where does he get from barrier 17 though? I think he has to go back again. And it's over the 2 mile, he might be one of those ones that are running on again, but is he just going to run out of time?
Yeah, that's the concern. Karen McAvoy is a good jockey on these staying trips, but geez, love to know what his strike rate has been recently. But no, look, I think when you've got 51 kilos on your back, you're Cleveland. You ran second in decent quality races overseas. With 61 kilos on your back, if not more. I think you're riding with a little bit more arrogance and a little bit more aggression. Yeah, if you're K-Mac, you just try and find some cover somewhere. And if it's back from midfield, whatever. And what you do is you just start revving him up earlier than what you typically would because he's only got 51 kilos on his back. I think he's rightful favourite and he's prominent in my betting strategy. Right stable, really liked what I saw from the Tancred. I just don't want to overthink it from that barrier, to be honest. And I'm still really confident that he wins. I was dirty as well because the other O'Brien thing I was keen on, Baron Samedi. I was like, maybe he draws well. He draws barrier 20. He's higher up in the weights, but again, he won't know himself. He's been carrying 60, 62 kilos overseas. Apparently, he's a noted wet tracker. You know, look at his heavy stats: 5 starts for 3 wins in a second. Yeah, he's going to have some of mine as well. And at $15, that's pretty juicy. Is there anyone else in the market that you're liking the looks of?
I am, but before I get to that, I just wanted to read out the stats for Kieran McAvoy over the last 30 days. 57 runners, 3 wins, striking 5.3%.
Yeah, didn't really need to hear those stats to know he wasn't riding well. but geez, that's just affirmation, isn't it? Yeah, he hasn't been riding super well.
No.
But, you know, he's a noted rider in these staying races, and you just need a couple of winners to get your confidence back, I guess. So,
yep.
Yeah, he's my clear on top here.
Yeah, 100%. All right, so he's not my on-top selection. I think there's 2 that I'm really keen to take out of the Tancred, and that is Cleveland. So he's one of my savers in the race. But the other one is number 14, King Fernhill. Now, he was sensational stepping out to the 2400. I think he'll relish the step up to 3200, and he will be one of those that will be a bit more closer to the speed here as well. He can just wander forward with Tyler in the saddle, who, let's be honest, over the last 30 days hasn't been riding that much better than Kieran. But at $8, I'm leaning towards him just from where I think the race shape will play out. So he's my on-top selection in the race. I think he's my best collect. Now, there's 3 other horses that I'm backing in the race. So Cleveland's one of them. The other 2 are... I have to back Gold Trip in this race because even though he's 59.5 kilos, probably gets back from barrier 16, J-Mac on board, there is no Deauville legend here. Like, he's just the superior horse, I think. He could still come out and win this race. And on face value, you look at that Tancred run and you're like, a little bit disappointing. I kept rewatching it. I'm like, you know what? I reckon he's actually, for a dour stayer, he's actually stuck on pretty damn well there. And if he finds the heavy track, which he most likely will, yeah, I could see him running a really nice race here at $8. So he's in my strategy. The other one is, he's half the price now, Explosive Jack, but if he wins, I'm not losing. No way. So $50 on King Fernhill. He's my best result in the race. 25 on Cleveland to get my money back. 15 on Gold Trip, similar. And then $10 Explosive Jack.
Yeah. 70 on Cleveland for me. 20 on Gold Trip, to your point. Exactly. I completely agree with what you said. And then 10 on Baron Samedi because he's paying 15s. And yeah, like your comment around there's no Deauville legend here. And, yeah, that's without a doubt the case. But it's also part of the reasoning behind Cleveland for me. Like, how many Melbourne Cups do we see where these lightly weighted Aussie things that have just been racing locally get spruiked and people come for them in the market and they don't run super well. So I just think these Europeans, mate, like, you know, if this is a poor man's version of the Melbourne Cup, yeah, they're the ones I want to be with.
Yeah, mate, you're making sense, all right? Yeah. You're making sense. All right, the main dish here, mate, the Queen Elizabeth Stakes, 2,000 metres way for age. I've narrowed this race down to 2 horses.
Look out. Yeah. Let me guess. Number 1, Animo. Number 2, Dubai Honour.
I'm risking Dubai Honour here.
You're risking him?
Yes. Because...
Get your nuts out for me, please, and put them on the table. I'm seeing a Japanese horse in this race.
Mate, he's got none. Look at his form on wet. He's got absolutely none. To be honest, he doesn't have much on good tracks either. I think he's just. I reckon. I would love him to win. Let me say that he's not my betting strategy, but I've secured the overs here, which have been proven not to yield. I think I got $60 for him earlier, and he's about $10 or so. So I'd love him to win, but I don't think he will. And all right, I'm gonna have a little bit of a spiel here, so bear with me. I had a look at Dubai Honor, right? And obviously, I saw him, you saw him, we all saw him. But I had a look back at his form, right? And his best runs on soft tracks were a year and a half ago. I've seen horses being able to do that in the past, where they used to be some of the best wet trackers that you've ever seen. And then when they get older, they just don't handle it as well. Like one of the best that we ever saw was Very Elegant. I think she was actually better on top of the ground at the end of her career than she was on a wet track.
Yeah.
Animo, on the other hand, I think his hatred of wet tracks has been overplayed. Like his only real big failure on it was in this race last year when it was like none of them could handle it. And it took the ride of the century to win the race of the century, as you rightfully said. You look at the Cox Plate, he won a pretty high rating edition last year on a heavy 8. He won the Rose Hill Guineas over 2,000 metres on a heavy track as well, over the same distance. And I reckon we're just going to be getting a better price this weekend because William Haggis and his International Raider, who couldn't beat much back home, has been overplayed that he's a wet tracker. I think it's the other way around, actually. So Animo is the clear bet here for me. It's taken me a while to come around into his fan club, but I'm well and truly waving my flag here. The other horse that I think we all have to respect in this race is Benjamin Button himself, Cascadian. Mate, he's absolutely sensational, this horse. And that was only his second time winning the Melbourne Way of Going in his career.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
so he's won his other 9 races going at nearly 33% going the Sydney Way of Going, which is sensational stuff, I might add. So from an Australia Cup, which was pretty quickly run, I think the wet deck will suit him. Mate, he has to be in contention. He's such a genuine weight for age horse these days. So they're the two I'm actually playing around. In saying that, $90 on Animo, $10 in the Quinella. Again, that's how I'm playing the race. So I've been talking a lot. What do you think?
$100 on Animo for me. I've been in the fan club since he was a little baby boy, a 2-year-old. I'm not jumping off him now. Does Dubai Honor give me the spooks? Yeah, a little bit, but that was an enormous rating that he ran in the Randwick, right? So if he matches that, then Animo has to go to another level to beat him. But who says he matches it? That could be a weird spike. It could be to your point, he could actually prefer the dry deck over the wet now. Look up. There's no way in hell I'm jumping off Animo after seeing Dubai Honor's one race. The guy's a champion. He finds a way to win. It doesn't matter where he is in the run. He's just one of those horses that finds a way. And I'm telling you, if it's Dubai Honor and Animo eyeballing each other with 200 metres to go down the Randwick Straight, I know who I'd rather be on. And it's Animo because he knows where the finish line is and he wants to win. And I wouldn't be surprised if a horse like Dubai Honor brings out the best in Animo and makes him go to that massive rating that is, on par with, the not the Winxes of the world, no way in hell, but on par with the best horse that we have in the world at the moment over the middle distance range because he hasn't had to go up against that yet. He's gone up against State of Rest who's won Group 1s all over the world and arguably should have beaten him on protest in a Cox Plate as a 3-year-old. So, you know, if you're looking at all that, the guy rises to the challenge. The guy is, you know, he does what he needs to do to put away the field that he's in, and I think he'll do it here. And you're right. Instead of getting the bloody $1.50 scraps that we've been getting for him this prep, we're getting $2.60 with Ned. So, yeah, I'll take that. $100 on the schnoz, please.
Mm-hmm. I think all the ratings gurus are going to jump on Dubai Honor and hit him. They're going to hit him here. Now, J-Mac he's been the victim of some pretty tactical riding so far this autumn. I'm talking AF Cabin. I'm also talking, I think it happened to him on AF Cabin twice, actually.
Yeah.
But he's had his pants pulled down a few times. Now, he sits right inside Dubai Honor there. Is he going to let Aussie Tom just waltz on by there? Mate, I could see J-Mac hang this thing out to dry. He could be 3-4 wide, no cover, and just absolutely cook his chances.
Yeah, I completely agree. And you know what this Group 1 looks like it actually has for once? And by all accounts, if Unicorn Line handles the deck and you know, actually races, like it'll provide some pace from out wide. Zarek's no slouch. You know, Protagonist is quick. Gear Up, from what we've seen, is pretty quick out. Numerian or Patroness. Like these horses will all go and they'll be fighting for that first third, as will Animo. And I think that's going to give us a race with genuine pace. And with that comes into play two things. I think the best of Animo, in a genuinely run race, he'll show them what sort of an athlete it is. But then your guy, who you've mentioned, Cascadian, that brings him right into the race because he needs a genuine tempo, which I think he'll get. So, yeah, mate, I think, I can't wait for it. It's on paper, it looks phenomenal, this race, and I'm sure it will be. Sure it will be when it plays out on Saturday.
I agree. You know what? I'm just going to tweak my strategy a little bit here, all right? If there is a massive blowout in the race, I think it's number 8, Zyrek, as you just mentioned. Mate,
yeah.
This horse has done nothing wrong. And I remember it was a while ago. The Hawks stable were talking about this thing being a wet tracker. Now, it has not seen a wet track yet this prep, and it has been dominating. I'm really keen to see what he can do stepping up to this grade because he's just been rolling around in Group 3s, what have you. I'm actually going to include him into my Quinella strategy as well. So I'm going to jump down to 85 on Animo, and then I'm going to have $15 on my 3 that I've had in the Quinella there. And if there is a blowout, I think it can be Zyrek because I'm an eye guy, and he's dominating this prep.
Man, he's been super.
Yeah, but Animo wins. All right. The Coolmore Legacy. Now, I have a theory about these Europeans that come over here. Now, some are obviously better than others, right? What was that? Yep. What was that thing that came over in the Golden Eagle last year that you're foaming at the mouth about?
Oh, light infantry.
Yes. How'd it run?
That's real solid 5th or 6th.
I have a theory that these sprinter miler types that come over, it's too hard for them, in my opinion. Now, I might have egg on my face here with alcohol-free, but I'm risking her this weekend. Now, I'm interested to see if you agree.
No, I 100% see your point. Have I been the victim of that? Of backing these European things in these type of races and they do absolutely nothing? So many times. But not in this instance. I think she's with the right stable and she's been here for long enough to get her fitness up. I'm not a trial guy, but in this instance I'll say I am because I like to trial. You'd think based on what she's done overseas, she's the best horse in the race. Draws super well with J-Mac on. Yeah, she's my on top selection. I wish I was getting a better price than $3.20 with Ned's to find out. But I don't think it's a clear-cut race. No way in hell. For me, I'd probably like to see her more about that sort of $4. Because that's how I'm sort of rating her in my mind. Like, I'm not one of those punters who's like, yeah, well, I've priced her $3.80. Like, I'm not that punter, obviously not. But she's my on toppy. But there's a stack of other horses in this race that I give a chance. So you're risking her, clearly.
I am, but I think the market has nailed it. So, all right, here's my theory, right? Let me know if you agree. So she last start, right? She lost by 3.5 lengths to Baid, who's one of the great European horses going around, or he was before he got retired, I believe.
Best in the world.
Yes, but over a mile, do you think that on a good track, someone like a Fangirl would be able to get within 3.5 lengths of Baid? I think you could probably argue, given her form over the mile against the likes of Animo, that she probably would go pretty close.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. I'm trying to visualise that in my head. 3.5 lengths is pretty far, isn't it?
Yeah. So that's where I'm going. Like, all right, I think the distance between the two isn't that far. So I'm happy. I'm happy with these ones, which our sprint and milers, which are probably our strongest ranks in Australian racing. I'm going to side with the locals. I'm going to risk the Yulong Silks of alcohol free. Now, it was there for everyone to see last week with Hope in Your Heart. Just a tragedy beaten each way. What did you say to me at the pub last weekend, Declan?
I can't remember.
You said,
what did I say?
You said you jinxed yourself. I'm like, did I?
Oh, you did.
I apparently said on this very podcast that she would run a really nice fourth, which she did. She ran a fantastic fourth in the Doncaster Mile, Hope in Your Heart.
Yeah, she did. Yeah.
Barrier 4 with Timmy Clark back in the saddle. I don't think she has to sit that far back here. I think she can sit a lot closer, I'm hoping. Just midfield and just savage the line again on a wet deck, which she'll relish. The quick backup is obviously the query with her. Never been tested, but I think she's so genuine she could probably handle it. So she's my on-top selection in the race, because if she won and I wasn't on, I would be physically ill. So $50 on her. And the other two that I'm backing, one is Levante, who has sensational form around Imperatriz from New Zealand, and she was sensational in the George Ryder. You could argue that she's potentially better on a soft track as well, beating the likes of La Creek and pardon me, and going very close against the likes of Imperatriz as well. So I'm happy to play around those two. So I'm having $25 on her. And the other one, you got to back the mares in form, mate. Cerelio Miss has done absolutely nothing wrong.
Nothing wrong.
Barrier 3, Benny Mellon on board, mate, she'll head to the front and she'll just power through this field, I reckon. Like, I reckon she'll be mighty, mighty hard to get past. She'll give them all a bunny to chase, but she might be off and gone. So another $25 on her. That's how I'm playing.
Mate, yeah, you're 100% right. And she, I backed her last start, Mooney Valley, and yeah, she led them and just kicked away, and she wasn't walking either when she was, leading throughout the sort of middle stages of the race. She was still going quick, and then still put them to the sword by quickening even further. So yeah, she's drawn perfectly. Benny Mellon on board. She's clear second selection for me behind Alcohol Free, and it was tossing up between them. And yeah, she's clearly going to lead from that gate. I think the only hesitation I have with her is that I think she'll get a bit annoyed. There'll be a few sticks in the mud for her with a few other horses like your Mirror Visions. Hinge will come out from outside and try and lead. There's probably a couple others as well, like your Pride of Jenny. So I'm worried there's going to be a bit more pressure up front for Cirilio Miss, but wouldn't shock at all. So I've got $60 on alcohol free. I've got 30 on Cirilio Miss. Then I've got a little tenner on horse number 10, Statement. Joseph O'Brien thing, who I was keen on last start, did absolutely nothing. Gets a wetter deck here. I'm expecting sharp improvement. $31 with Neds, tenner on, $300 collect. Yeah, worth the spend for me.
So you went 50, 30, 10. I reckon you have 10 left over.
60, 30, 10. My apologies.
Okay. No, that maths checks out. No, well played by you. I like it. Let's rip through the rest of the card here. So race 1, the Fernhill Handicap, 1,600 metres, listed race for the 2-year-olds. Are you going back to the well with inhibitions here?
I have to, Hutch. I have to. I can't not. Beaten by a small bloody margin by Mer last start. She was a decent price. Not getting the same price here, but sticking with her.
Yep, love it. So even though she's a fill-in, she's giving weights to the boys.
Yeah, I'm still happy enough to take her there, and I think she's probably a bit better than these. Yeah, she's got to carry the weight, but you got to do what you got to do, right?
Yeah. What about number 4, Chad? Chad Townsend.
Oh, look, apparently has the strongest mane in horse racing, Townsend. Look.
It was a joke, mate. Don't worry about it.
What
the one I'm going to have a little spec on is number 5, Kintyre. So this horse has beaten home inhibitions twice this prep. I think he can do it again here. Why not? And this time of year, this stable, these silks, they've been so bloody good to me, Declan. So what's one more?
Very true. Very true.
Race 2, the South Pacific Stakes, 1,400 metres for the 3-year-olds listed. I thought this was incredibly difficult.
It's just so hard, man. So bloody hard, and I don't have a particularly strong opinion. I don't mind Hawaii 5-0, from that stable. Rock hard fit. Thought it was okay last start. Beat home. Cool Jakey. Cool Jakey means it's slightly better at the weights here, but I can't back that stable, so I sort of default to my next pick. And that's Hawaii 5-0. So, but not a lot of confidence, mate. So probably won't play in this race. We'll see.
I've found a roughie that I'm going to have a tiny little spec on. I'm talking like 1x5. And that's number 6, Red Denier. So this one was in the same race as Hawaii 5-0, Cool Jakey. It was first up as well. So I think it's open to improvement here. Potential wet track, which it definitely will be a wet track of some sort. I think that will be fine for it. The Magic Man in the saddle from Kieran, that's an upgrade if I've got the same one. 54 kilos, if you don't mind. Barrier 3. Hold a position. They don't have to get so far back here, but this thing absolutely savaged the line. 1,600 meters, big tick. So, I think it's actually a pretty decent roughie to chuck in your Ned same race multis as well. Race 4 on the program is the Percy Sykes Stakes, Group 2, 1,200 meters for the 2-year-old fillies. Now, are you going Canberra form or Golden Slipper form or something different?
No, I'm going Canberra form, mate. Anyone who's seen that Black Opal win by Autumn Ballet, greatly named horse as well, will know that she's a filly with some talent. The first ever to win that race on debut. Gee, she put them to the sword there. And that was, that was nearly a month ago. So, she's been kept nice and cool for this particular race. So, Autumn Ballet's the one for me, for sure.
Yeah. I think it kind of makes sense, right? But I am going Lazargo with Kieran in the saddle. So we're hoping that Kieran just defies all logic this weekend. So nothing went right for her in the Golden Slipper. So if she's like, I'm more concerned, not necessarily obviously physically, but I think mentally for these young 2-year-olds as well. She could just be had enough after something like that.
Yeah.
But she beat Home for Seal, who continued to run well, and Blanc de Blanc. Now, Blanc de Blanc was the first filly home in the Golden Slipper from memory. So if that form stacks up here at $8, I'm more than willing to find out there. Because would Autumn Ballet do the same thing in the Slipper? Potentially. It's all who knows, mate. Who bloody knows? So Lazargo for me. Now, I've added in the Provincial Midway Championships as well. Have you had a look at this race?
I have had a brief look at this race, yes.
Okay.
I didn't mind Short Shorts, mostly because of its name.
Brad Widdop.
Brad Widdop was pretty good last start, I thought, putting him to the sword first up. Look, it's got a bit of wet form. Draws well here. Look up, yeah, not a lot of confidence, but, got to have a bet in this race, so Short Shorts is on for me.
I think this is something that New South Wales just absolutely towel up Victoria on. The way that they bring the country provincial trainers and horses to the big dance that is the championships 2 weeks in a row. It's fantastic to see. This is nearly unbelievably one of my better bets on the day, number 5 Kobe. Mate, go back, have a look at its win at Gosford. Sensational stuff. Audette.
Gosford form.
Yeah. Mate, it kind of worked out for us last week, not really. But this thing was had a pretty easy win, to be honest, and it only looks like half a length in your form guide, Drifters. But Audette put a length on him with about 200 from home. Brendan O'Della only gave him like 3 rides out with the irons. Finished riding him, and he basically was up in the irons past the post. It was an arrogant ride if I've ever seen one, and Brenton has that in him. $4 with Neds, I think that is a sensational price to find out. Let's put it this way. Barry 4, just been so patient in the prep. Just everything is going like chips in here. They're going to walk away with another 270,000. I was going to say million there. Wouldn't that be nice? 270,000 in the bank. I think this time next year, this horse is going to progress to some group style races. I think he's pretty smart.
We made a case.
I have. Now, the Arrowfield. Now, our boy Marzu just towed them up last year. He retired.
Didn't he?
Mate, he retired that thing from Waterhouse. What was that thing called? It ran last week. Beat Animo in the Golden Rose.
Oh, in the Congo.
Yes. He retired that horse, basically. He broke his heart and then he never recovered.
He beat Paul Laley as well.
Yeah. It was a sensational race. I believe this is the last year that this is a Group 2. I believe it's being upgraded to a Group 1 next year.
Is it?
I heard that. Now, could I have been dreaming that? Could I have made that up? Potentially. But let's just say it's the truth.
No, mate, it's a good race, the Arrowfield Sprint. It's worth $1 million. So, no wonder it's high quality. What you need scratched doesn't bother, even if he was in the race, I still wouldn't have gone him. Ash Cabin, 100%. Mate, this guy, I think what I found out this prep from him is that he is a sprinter because he did not go well over 1,400 metres, nor did he go well over 1,600 metres in the round with Guineas. So that's a bit harsh. He ran 4. But could he have been ridden slightly better those last 2 starts? Yeah, you could argue that. But, mate, from what I saw from him first up in the Eskimo Prince Stakes over 1,200 metres is the reason why I kept backing him throughout the prep. He absolutely brained them. So the fact that he's been put on ice since the round with Guineas for this tells me that Godolphin, James Cummings, doesn't often get it wrong in placing his horses. Colette comes to mind. We mention her all the time on the pod. Couldn't really figure her out. Ash Cabin, he seems like a 1,200, 1,300 metre horse to me. I would have been keen on him with What You Need in the race, and I'm disappointed that What You Need isn't, because now I'm only getting $1.95 with Neds for Ash Cabin, and I was going to get something like $3. So clear on top selection for me. Nothing else that really scares me in the race. Probably if we get out to evens, $2, best of the weekend easily.
Shit. What about the horse that has beaten him home the last 2 starts? Zoo Tiger.
No, happy to take him on.
Okay.
Happy to.
All right. Zoo Tiger on top. He's a ferocious tiger. Zoo Tiger. Blinkers on first time. Not really sure why. Probably needs to focus, actually.
Aussie Tom.
Yeah, Aussie Tom in the saddle. Mate, more than like 2.5 times the price for a horse that's beaten him home the last 2 starts. I was never a fan of Zoo Tiger in that Randwick Guineas. I thought the mile really sees him out. I think Ash Cabin and Zoo Tiger are very similar in that way, actually. I think they're far better suited to these sprinting distances of 1,200, 1,400 metres. So, yeah, at the price, mate, Aussie Tom versus J-Max, not going to be the first time for the day that they're going to be fighting it out. It's just good stuff to see. I'm gonna back Zoo Tiger with not a lot of confidence, to be honest. It's more of a just sit back and watch for me.
Fair enough.
All right, the last of the program is the Sapphire Stakes. Now, there's a mare here for Godolphin. I think she will start very close to $2 on the day. Surely.
Oh, you'd think so. You'd think so. Zapateo resuming in the Oakley Plate it didn't run up to her ability, you could argue. Pretty hot edition of the Oakley Plate, finished 12th, and then comes out and spanks him in the birthday card stakes. Dominant there. Draw sticky, but, best in the biz and J-Mac on board. Yeah, I think she'll get pumped in, particularly if there's a bunch of roughies throughout the day like there was last week. All the punters will come for her. I'm going to take her on, though, mostly because of that reason, the price. With a girl who's been great to me this prep so far, Jowlay. She finished behind Zapateo last start. Wasn't too far away. Just gave her way too much of a head start, but thought she was brilliant first up when she won on protest. The wet deck won't bother her. She's drawn a little bit sticky as well, but look at this. Aussie Tom on board. I reckon he'll get a bit more out of her than who was on her last start. Reece Jones.
Cousin Reece.
So, yeah, that's an upgrade for a jockey, with all due respect to Reece, my cousin. So, yeah, Jarlay for me, $14 with Neds, worth an each way play.
Yeah. All right. I've found one just with that barrier. If that barrier does defeat her, I think number 11, Hypothetical, who was behind her. So that we're basically going like, you know what? Let's just take the same trifecta from the birthday card stakes to this one here. Hypothetical, $9 with Neds. Jockey upgrade as well. Tyler Schiller to Frosty, Damien Lane. Barrier 8, better draw. I think the conditions doesn't really matter to this girl. That she can handle the heavy, the soft, the good tracks as well. What I like about her though is I think she's done it against some of the boys earlier in her career. Now, obviously different gravy here, right? But she's run well against the likes of like Snapper. Now, Snapper, he hasn't been doing that well in these Group 1 races, but he's been running in them. So pretty much the same type of horses Zapateo, like running in that Oakley Plate, didn't run that well, but she ran there, you know what I mean? Hypothetical for the Freedmans, I think she's the one that can feature. So if it's not Zapateo, it's that girl.
No, mate, well found.
Thank you, mate. Let's quickly go to Sandown real quick. Now, have you looked at Sandown at all?
Look, I've given it a quick scan, not in a lot of depth. So Be my guest, mate. Lead the way.
Victoria Handicap, race 7. So this is Group 3 over the 1,400 metres. Now, Ayrton, can't believe this. He's equal favourite. So I think you're getting a price about this field now because I don't think he will be winning. There's 2 that I'm keen to back here. Number 7, Cardinal Gem, who just never runs a bad race for Graham Beck. And the other one is your guy, number 9, Clemenceau, for John. Yeah.
I found him as well, 100%. I would have been filthy if he won last start when we backed Coal Crusher against him. Coal Crusher ran well there, but Clemenceau came home super strongly. He's in well at the weights here, draws well. Just a shame John McNeil's on board because I can't find him. But no, yeah, I'm keen on him in this race, $5 net.
And then the last race that we'll cover is the Easter Cup, the next over the 2,100 metres at Sandown. Mate, you obviously have one of these very promising stays that we are starting to get here and there, White Marlin. Do you reckon White Marlin can get the job done?
Yeah, I think so. This is well short of his best distance, you would think, which is why you're probably getting a slightly better price for him. I think the danger is the last start winner, number 10, Sparkle. Was super in victory last start. I think from that gate as well, should sit pretty handy. Drawing barrier 2 will probably lead. I think maybe Barb Raider might try and take the lead off it. So I think it'll be pretty handy. And there's one other horse who's higher up in the weights who I think will be incredibly hard to beat because he's putting them together like no one's business, genuine picket fence stuff. And that's number 3, Right You Are. He was scratched from the Aussie Cup. I think he was probably decent in the market there. He comes to this race, he could just win as well. So nothing here that, I'd back with a lot of confidence. I did really like White Marlin's win on Melbourne Cup Day, so I'll be leaning there, but not a lot of confidence. What are your thoughts?
Mate, the same ones. The only other one I'll add in, so we're going a little bit wide if this was a quaddie leg, but Barb Raider as well. So she's been, on face value, pretty disappointing this prep. I think she's just looking for a trip. She gets that here, 2,100 metres. She's been twice at the mile. Could just be like the step up that she's been looking for. So she's drawn super, super well in barrier 3, Froggy in the saddle, just go forward and be hard to run down.
Mate, you could be completely right. We could all be right.
We all could be. I'm tipping 2 cards this weekend. I don't know about you.
Now I'm due for at least one winner.
I agree. Mate, that is all she wrote, I believe. So what's on the agenda for dinner?
Mate, you know what? It could be a trip down to Ipoh. Greatest place on earth. Gave it a little whack last night, but not for dinner. We had we were at Bistro C last night for what was a delightful feed. Not going to lie. So, mate, do you know what? I'll give you a live update. How's that sound? As soon when I'm en route to dinner, I'll swing you a little text. Might even send you a little picky.
Mate, that sounds delightful. Well, thank you so much for giving us your time on your honeymoon, mate, or part 1 of your honeymoon, because there is 2 parts, Drifters. There will be an update on that later in the year. But, mate, thank you so much. I reckon we've found a few winners there.
My pleasure, mate. Let's see how we go.
Easy. All right. Hooroo, Drifters.